Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to Share Your Spark podcast. This is Dragos Santosha, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about nervous system mastery for lightworkers on a mission. And in the first part, we'll explain the four-quadrant framework for nervous system, which is the best state where you can be in, where you can actually function the best, be in creative mode, but also in expressive mode, versus the dysregulated phase. And in the second part of the video, we're going to talk about nervous system leadership, how you actually, through your nervous system, which is in a high state, we'll explain what that means, actually influences the others. To be in the state where actually you transmit not only through your words, through your teachings, but through your presence, from who you truly are, from this energy field that it's vibrating at a higher frequency, and it's actually transforming the people you interact with. So it's not only through the words, but through your presence. And for that, the nervous system, it's a key component of that. So let's begin with the framework. So to understand what I mean, so there are four quadrants of the nervous system where it can be, and some are empowering states, some are not so good. So on the horizontal line, we have the dysregulated and regulated nervous system, right? Which means you're feeling safe. That's basically the nervous system has this function to tell you, to transmit your whole being if you're feeling safe or not. If it's dysregulated, you're under stress, you're in high beta frequencies, you're on fight or flight, yeah, right? When it's regulated, you're relaxed. You can breathe, you can be in a more open, receptive mode. Right? But that's not all. We have the vertical line, which is the energy. If it's a low energy or if it's high energy. So when you are dysregulated and in a low energy, that's the worst that can happen, right? We don't want to be there here. When we are dysregulated by high energy, we might be in anger, we might be, right, in the wounded masculine energy, trying to control, manipulate. So we have some power here, right? But it's not healthy for us and for others. When the nervous system is regulated, right, it's calm, relaxed, can be in a low energy, and that means more like meditation, being receptive, creativity, and so on, which is a very nice state, right? And we need this. When we relax, we regenerate. It's very healthy. But also, it's not good to stay only here, because we have to do our mission, right? And be regulated, but also be in a high peak energy. Right? This is the most empowering state, where we influence others, where we are sharing our gifts, when we are performing in a good sense, right? Putting energy out there, but from a regulated space. And what you transmit, what you emit, what you broadcast is very magnetic and powerful, has most impact. So the key is, first of all, be in this side, right? Most of the time, if not all the time, and then switch from high energy to low energy, from putting energy outside to regenerate, right? So this is the most effective way of living and living your life, actually, right? It's not being in, first of all, get out of the dysregulated state, be in the regulated, but then alternate the energy, putting energy out, regenerating, creating, expressing, and so on, right? But this is very important, especially for light workers. The nervous system is such a key, more than for normal human beings, right? Because our nervous system and energy system, it's much more different than for normal people, right? It's more sensitive, it's right, more sensitive to energy, to input, to stimuli. So that then becomes this fight, dichotomy between wanting to protect, right? Because this is the message the nervous system sends. If we're not regulated, doesn't feel safe, we want to hide. But in the same time, we have this pull to serve, to fulfill our soul mission, right? So for many years, for me, this was a very big question. How do I do that? Because when I wanted to share, to express, to be with people, to interact and so on, to share my knowledge, my gifts, then I would feel not safe. I would feel drained of energy, right? So this is the key to balance, to feel be in the regulated state, and then share that. So one of the biggest tools I found, of course, there are so many, from yoga, breath work, and a lot of practices, right, which helps us with the nervous system. For what I discovered, the most effective one is the presence, to coming back into the body and grounding ourselves. This, I would say, is the number one practice to regulate the nervous system. Because when we are outside of the body and into the mind and trying to figure things out, we lose ourselves, we lose our power when we are triggered or reactive, right? There's energy leakage and we get drained. So it's very important to command our energy, to become the masters of our energy, and to stay at home in our bodies. It's our sanctuary, it's our temple where we are the most powerful and the most protected, right? And from here, of course, we can connect to the higher guidance, to the higher self, ascending, but also to ground ourselves to the earth, to become this pillar of light. So the vertical tube becomes this channel of light between heaven and earth. So in this space, it's where is the most power, the most alignment, and the most embodiment. So the nervous system becomes very regulated, relaxed, right? We feel the presence, we feel supported by the heaven and the earth, right? So in this space, our presence becomes magnetic. When we transmit from this space of presence, we're not influencing others just with words. We are influencing them with the transmission, with our being. We transmit our codes, our energy, our gifts. It's not only through words, it's through being. Right? This doesn't happen when we are in our minds trying to figure things out, how we're gonna say, and trying to manipulate and watch out for everything. And then this becomes the nervous system leadership. What I shared is the next phase. So when we become masters of our inner state and presence, then we begin to lead others and influence a whole room, community, country, and so on, right? Through our presence, through what we broadcast. People, when in our audience, right? Like if you're a light worker, for whatever, if you are doing one-on-one coaching and so, or group programs or courses, you will influence the others in a positive way through your presence. When your nervous system is regulated, will help the whole room get into that place. And then the information, what is being transmitted, helps at a deeper, much deeper level for the transformation to happen. Otherwise, if people in your audience are in a dysregulated space, not much will happen. The protections will be there. They will reject everything. So first of all, the number one key for transformation, the start, is the nervous system. Otherwise, nothing gets in. If the nervous system doesn't relax, there's no transformation. So first of all, your audience, your people, your clients, the soul clients you're meant to serve, first need to be safe, right? So the nervous system can relax. The brain goes out of beta waves into alpha and more receptive modes. And then the transformation happens at a much subtler level, but needs to start from you. If you are dysregulated and in a place of worry, anxiety, and so on, you won't be able to do that. And no matter how much knowledge you have and want to share, is not going to reach the people. it's not going to have the impact that you want. So first of all, coming back to your body, coming back to presence. And from this space is much more important. It doesn't matter so much what you say. It's really so little importance what you say, but what you broadcast through the words. The energy you are in, it's so much more powerful because you already have the codes. You are here. Your gifts are not through the knowledge. You came here with an energetic frequency. The codes, it might be codes of abundance, it might be codes of love, it might be codes of presence, wisdom, and so on, which you are here to transmit to other people. And it's not going to happen from anxiety, from worry, from stress, from a dysregulated nervous system, right? First of all, it's coming back to your essence, the pillar of light. And from this space, you are actually fulfilling your mission just by your being. So I hope it makes sense. I hope this video got you some insights. Join us in the academy, in the community, where we explore much more in depth this journey from light worker to light leader, from wanting to serve, aligning with your soul mission, remembering why you came here, releasing all the patterns and what is no longer serving you, and rise as the light leader you came here to be. See you in the next video.